So I had a really good Bourgogne game the other day, and I had to share it with you guys. Bourgogne on a flank is just the best thing in this game. This ship is weaker than a lot of tier 10 battleships when it comes to its guns and its armor and its health pool. This ship doesn't have even 406mm guns, it's only 380s, but they're pretty good 380s, let's be honest. But what makes this ship so special is when you get on a flank. This ship having a reload booster and 12 reasonably accurate guns gives you that tier 10 power level, and even upper tier 10 battleship power level. It's the main reason that I really enjoy playing this ship a lot of the time. When I get on a flank like this, where I'm actually able to catch people's broadsides, I'm actually able to push up relatively quickly using this speed boost, it's just so much fun. And really, the consistency of the Bourgogne comes from the reload booster as well. Sure, you're going to get broadsides, and you're going to miss some. Bourgogne, not the most accurate battleship in the game, but at least you have a reload booster to pick up that slack when you do have those unlucky salvos here and there. As you can see, this flank specifically doesn't even have an enemy destroyer on it. Usually that's going to be the downfall of a very fast, aggressive flank on this side, but we're not detected right now. And that's what's going to allow me to play very aggressive here. That's often what I'm looking at for opportunities to push in, especially early on. Typically, those aren't going to work out so well. No carrier in this one, and the enemy submarine has, I believe, spawned on the opposite flank. So that's one of the other reasons that this game is going to work out well. This isn't going to work most of the time, but when it does, it's a lot of fun. Even still, we are able to go dark when we're not shooting here. So we're just going to get very aggressive. Try and dig out this cruiser from the island. That's really going to give our team a lot of control over the seaside of this map. And with the enemy battleships seemingly pushing over towards this side, we're going to have to do it relatively quickly. Otherwise, if we get stuck here, we will die relatively fast, since the enemy team does appear to be shifting most of their forces over this way. And fighting against things, especially like a Yamato, hurts quite a bit. 32 mil overmatch is no joke. We do manage to citadel the Slava, which is pretty nice. The pen on these guns is actually really good. Slava, of course, does not have the armor that a Kremlin does, so we actually are able to do some good damage there. And unfortunately, the island does manage to save this cruiser. I think with that dispersion, we probably would have been looking at a dev strike there. But the reload booster certainly has allowed us to get some nice shots in here. Cruiser goes dark, but we did manage to get 2 shots in, even after taking a shot at the Slava. So even if you're not using the booster to get slightly better dispersion, or another chance at better dispersion, I should say, you can use it to react quickly to someone else that pops up out of concealment. It's another amazing feature. Something like the Vermont, you got to pick and choose those salvos because you only get one every 40 seconds. Here, we do have that opportunity to shoot again very quickly. A little bit more like a battle cruiser, honestly, or even a cruiser level of adaptability, which is another reason I think this ship is so good. I often talk about it as one of the best steel ships to get. That's one of the main reasons. If you're a battleship player, you're going to love that these guns you can fire quite often and use the reload booster to really punish broadsides. And if you don't really enjoy battleships quite as much and you're more of a cruiser player, you're also going to enjoy this battleship a little bit more thanks to that reload booster, giving you a lot of second chance salvos. It can also be used to actually just HE farm straight up. The main guns have pretty decent fire chance, and with that reload booster, much like a Henry or a Kleber, anything with reload boosters on the French line, if you light a fire, the enemy damage controls it, well, you can just pop your reload booster and get another permanent fire on them, which always feels pretty good. I really only like doing that if the enemy team is totally bow into me. Like here, for example, we're not really going to get an opportunity to shoot a broadside just yet, so we'll swap over to HE for a salvo or 2. Personally, though, I really like Bourgogne with its armor piercing on a flank, trying to force those broadside shots. Personally, I just find that way more satisfying to use. This Slava here looks like he's going to turn out, so we're going to use Expert Loader or Gun Feeder, whatever that skill is called. It really is just a must on a ship like the Bourgogne, allowing us to get to our next salvo with armor piercing, even though we just had HE in the tubes. Broadside Slava at 8 kilometers. Okay. 36,000 damage. That could have been a dev strike, honestly, but I will definitely take 36,000 damage, especially considering with these 380mm guns, we only have 11,900 alpha damage, something like that. So not the highest alpha damage at tier 10, but that extra salvo or two you get in thanks to the reload booster should help finish him off. You've probably also noticed the secondaries firing in this particular video. I've actually gone for a bit of a hybrid build in this one. It's very greedy, honestly. Bourgogne is certainly a little bit better if you manage to not spec secondaries, not fall for that bait, and take full concealment, extra healing, and fire prevention. It's just going to do a lot better in the mid-range. I think the secondaries often will act as bait, for example, where you push in just a little bit too close and sub 10 kilometers, sure, you're going to get your secondaries, but people are going to be able to aim for the weak points on your ship. Even though Bourgogne does have only 32mm of armor, it's got a bit of black hole turtleback armor, which is pretty typical of French ships in this game. At closer ranges, though, you can get through that, so it does have a bit of a cheek at the very front, not as extreme as a Yamato, for example, but there's a little corner where the turtleback doesn't protect it nearly as well. And at closer ranges, the turtleback isn't nearly as good as German turtleback, for example. The sloping isn't quite good enough to totally get rid of any citadel chance when you're broadside, so closer ranges, things get a little bit tricky. In this case, I don't really want to ram, just a personal thing where I enjoy the brawling so much. I think that the rams are ending a brawl in a bit of a boring way, so I really want to extend the brawl as much as I can. So I'm going to try and weave through these islands here to avoid this first Montana from ramming me, and then maybe get some broadside shots in on the second Montana, or even the first one if he manages to go broadside to us. Kind of waiting for that. Do have our reload booster available to us, and with the speed boost, this ship is actually pretty maneuverable. It's quite quick. There's that turtleback helping save us from certain death there from that Monty salvo. He only had his front guns, but we do manage to live, which is pretty nice. So, Montana flat broadside to us, hoping for some citadels here to finish him off. 8 pens. It's okay. Damage is pretty good, but certainly would love to see some citadels there. And I popped my reload booster right away, partially because I wanted to either finish that guy off, and because I saw this other Monty coming in broadside. Turtleback again saving us. I think I probably should have died there. 1,000 HP is what we're left on. Finally getting ourselves a citadel into one of these broadside Monties, but it doesn't quite manage to finish him off. So a little disappointing, but honestly, it's hard to complain. It's still a pretty solid game here. Bourgogne on a flank like that, it's pretty terrifying to fight. So if you do have yourself a Bourgogne, or you're looking for a fun flanking battleship, Bourgogne should definitely be on the short list for you. As for the build here on the Bourgogne, like I said, a bit of a hybrid build with this one, getting a little greedy for some of those secondaries. Like I said, I enjoy the brawling side of things, and secondaries can be pretty fun and somewhat useful if they do manage to hit some of those DDs or lightly armored targets. Even could set some fires on some battleships, but oftentimes you're going to be better off with concealment and maybe even basic survivability instead of that secondary range. A little bit more survivability, better concealment, allowing you to surprise some cruisers or broadside battleships a little bit easier. Sneaking around the map and unleashing that reload booster on some people is pretty good. So I definitely recommend that. Although if you're a little bit crazy like me and decide you want to try secondaries, I don't recommend going fully in on the secondaries, but a little bit of that hybrid build can be fun still. We definitely want aiming systems though. Engine boost is so nice on this ship. It's really, really strong, 15% engine boost for a pretty long time. So that's where we gain a lot of maneuverability, and that allows us to push very aggressively, flank very quickly, or to just evade shells. It's really good as a defensive tool as well. Bourgogne's just awesome, and that was a really fun flank that I just had to share with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.